What are the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager? I've got 6 of them for you today on the Inside BS show, but I've also got the one thing you should never ever do as a sales manager. If you want to find out what that one thing is, you've got to join me for this episode of the Inside BS show. Hi, it's Dave Lorenzo. This is the Inside BS Sales Tip Show. Today we're going to talk about the 6 duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. I'm going to give you each of those and I'm going to break them down for you one by one. I'm also going to share with you the one thing you should never ever do. You shouldn't ever do this. And you got to stay with me because you're going to want to make sure you never make the mistake that I made that I'll share with you at the end of the show today. All right, let's dive right into the content. What are the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager? This is a question you've asked me. You gave it to me in the comments of another video. We're going to start with duty and responsibility number 1. That is to set expectations. As a sales manager, it is your responsibility. It's your duty to set expectations. What does this mean? You have to tell your team exactly what you're looking for from them every day, every week, every month, and every year. So if they have goals and they bought into the goals, you have a reasonable expectation that they will do everything in their power to achieve those goals. Make sure you tell them that. Make sure you tell them what activity you expect of them each week. Make sure you tell them what communication you expect from them, how you expect them to communicate with you, how you expect them to communicate with their clients, the frequency, the tone, the timing. All of these things need to be laid out, spelled out, crystal clear. It is essential that you do not leave anything to chance. If you forget to tell a sales rep something and they screw it up, that's on you. It's not on them. So, communicating your expectations clearly and concisely is the number one duty of a sales manager. It's the number one responsibility of a sales manager. If you're ready for the second duty and responsibility of a sales manager, join me for number 2 right now. When we're talking about the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager, the second point to bring out is that the sales manager is responsible for sharing best practices. This is so important because some of your salespeople may not know what the most successful practices are in other areas, or they may not know what other people who work for the company in the same role are doing that helps them become more successful. So as a sales manager, it's your responsibility to look for things that are going really well, go behind the scenes and find out why they're going really well, and then share those practices with everyone else, not only on your team, but throughout the entire company. Your sales people, your account executives, the people who you are responsible for as a sales manager, they're going to be competitive and they're going to try and keep some of their best practices a secret, maybe even from you. So you have to go above and beyond. You have to go way out of your way to understand who's doing things right and then figure out what they're doing, capture it all, and share it with other people. My favorite way to share best practices is exactly what I'm doing with you right now. Just whip out your phone and take a video of what people are doing and then document that process later on. If you have team-oriented sales people who are account executives who are really gung-ho about helping the team, they'll capture the best practices for you and share them with you. But again, I would expect that a good majority of the people who work for you are going to be highly competitive, and when they have success, they're just going to attribute it to good fortune or hard work, and they're not going to really get down and share best practices. So it's up to you to get in there and figure out what these people are doing right and share it with everyone else. Best practice sharing, that's the second thing you're responsible for when it comes to being a sales manager and being a successful sales manager. When it comes to the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager, number 3 may be the most important, and this is to remove any barriers from the sales process that may be getting in the way of having your team close a deal. So think about this for a second. When you meet with your sales team members and they say to you, you know, I would have been able to close this deal if I didn't have to do this. Or they say to you, you know, one of the things that's holding me back is this. You want to remove any of those barriers to them being able to close that deal. It's essential that you do that. So when I talk to sales managers and I say, look, your duties, your responsibilities, what are the ones that are the most concerning to you? I always get, well, you know, I got to keep up with the sales team. I got to hold them accountable. I got to do this. I got to do that. Nobody ever talks about getting all of the crap that is holding the sales team members back out of the way. So I want you today to look at the things that are getting in the way of your sales team's success. If they tell you they don't have enough time, ask them to keep track of their day, and then you sit down with them and remove the things that are taking all that time up during the course of the day. If they tell you that they can't get in front of enough people because they don't have a computer that is fast enough to do video, so they have to do everything over the phone and nobody's returning their calls, get them a new computer. Figure out what's holding them back and remove those barriers. This is definitely one of the most important things you have to do. Get those barriers out of the way, remove the excuses, and then help your salespeople be more effective and more efficient. If this resonates with you, give me a hey now down in the comments. Right down in the comments, just type out hey now, because this is one of those things that people, when they're given permission to do it, sales managers, when they're given permission to do it, they really get it, and it really helps them connect in a strong way with their sales team. Point number 4 in the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager is to facilitate communication. What does that mean? Well, frankly, it means making sure that everybody knows what's expected of them, number 1, making sure that they have all the resources they need and they know how to get a hold of you if they don't have the resources they need, number 2. And number 3, it also means making sure that best practices are shared with everyone on the sales team at all times. Facilitating communication is one of the primary duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. Make sure you know how you can communicate best with each member of your team. Some of them are going to respond really well to email. Some of them are going to respond better to text messages. Some of them are going to respond to personal phone calls, and others will respond better candidly to communication like this. You can do personal video, you can shoot the video on your phone and send it over to them, and that's how they'll respond better. You need to know which of your sales team members respond to which type of communication, and you need to facilitate communication among everyone so that nobody's ever left in the dark. This is point number 4 for the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. We'll see you right now in point number 5. We're up to point 5 in the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager, and point number 5 is that you must be a champion for the sales rep. You have to be the person who fights for the sales rep at every turn. You have to be the person that makes sure, number 1, they get paid accurately and on time. Number 2, the deal they have with the company doesn't change. If the salesperson blows the doors off his goal and the company wants to put a ceiling or a cap on the commission, you got to fight like hell to make sure that doesn't happen. So you got to be the person who makes sure that the deal they have with the company never changes. Number 3, you've got to be a fair and impartial judge when it comes to territory disputes. Don't play favorites with territories. Make sure you're a fair and impartial arbiter of what's true and accurate when it comes to territory disputes. Number 4, you have to be the guardian of the sales professional's time. It is essential they spend as much time as possible in front of the customer. Keep them out of meetings. Keep them from having to do unnecessary reports. Keep them away from all of the messes that are created by a corporate environment and a corporate structure. Make sure they're free to do what they do best every day. It is essential for you to be the champion for the sales rep if you want to make sure the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager are crystal clear. Write down this essential point. If you are nothing else, you are the agent, the advocate, the champion for the sales representative. That's point number 5 in the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. Nothing is more important. This is critical. Be sure and stay with us in this video because point number 6 is coming up. And then after 6, number 7 is the one thing that's going to get you in all kinds of hot water, the one thing you should never do. You don't want to miss it. Be sure and stay with us. Point number 6 is coming at you right now. Now it's time for point 6 in the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. And point 6 is that when you're invited, you should participate in the team sales process. Now, I said when you're invited because some of your best salespeople are not going to want you involved, but there will be times when they need you involved to do either a good cop, bad cop routine where you have to be the bad guy and they're going to be the good guy and save the day, or they're going to need you to add additional credibility to the case they're making to their client. So when you're invited, participate in the team sales process. Now, I said when you're invited, right? And that means that you have to be welcoming of invitations from the members of your team to go and do whatever they need you to do. If they need you to scrub the dumpster, you got to go scrub the dumpster. That's pretty much what I'm talking about here. If they invite you in, don't let them down. Show up and do your part. Play your role. There's a famous scene in the movie Glengarry Glen Ross where Kevin Spacey's character, who's the sales manager, blows a deal for Al Pacino, who's the top salesperson in the office. And he does it because he doesn't know his role in the sales process. So as a sales manager, each sales executive, each salesperson in your organization is going to want you to play a different role. There may be something unique you have to do in the sales process depending on what's going on along the sales route that particular client is taking. When they invite you in, know what your role is, rehearse it ahead of time, and play your part. Good sales managers do this, and they do it frequently, and they participate in the sale. Great salespeople appreciate the sales manager when he or she plays that role. And you have to be the person to put your ego in your pocket and really make sure you understand what your role is when it's time for you to team sell. That's point number 6 in the responsibilities of a sales manager. We'll see you in point number 7 right now. We are at point number 7 for the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. This is a series. We do these series all the time, but if you want to watch the rest of the videos in the series, and I highly recommend you do, you're going to want to click the link right up there. You'll also see the link when the video ends. Point number 7, the one thing you should never ever do, that's break a promise. You should never break a promise to a sales rep or to a customer. If you do, you are signing your death warrant as a sales manager. That's right, it will crush your career as a sales manager. Any promise you make, any commitment you make, you need to keep. If you break a promise to a sales rep, it'll get through the entire organization and no one will ever trust you again. If you break a promise to a client and it hurts a sales rep's commission, it is going to crush you forever. Why is it going to crush you forever? Because Hurting a salesperson's commission is the fastest way to get them to leave the company. You can't break promises. That's the one thing you can never do. In the duties and responsibilities of a sales manager, the one thing you should never ever do is break a promise, especially to a client or a sales rep. Thanks for joining me for these 7 critical duties and responsibilities of a sales manager. Click the link, watch the rest of the series. We want you, I want you to be successful. Join me in the next video in this series. I will see you there.